Hello and welcome back to the Crypto Club podcast. This is Gons. As always, I am here with Mr. Hobo.
Yep, hello. Pleasure to be here for another episode. We're on episode 7.
Woo! Episode 7. Let's go.
Yep. It's already been quite the roller coaster ride, and we're still just getting started.
Oh man, absolutely.
Yeah, we've got some
Well,
crazy stuff to talk about today. Talking about a USDD Tron stablecoin. Talking about some real estate in New York selling us an NFT. Talking about the Twitter deal. Got a lot of juicy stories to go over.
yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah. So kicking it off here with this first story. So it says crypto scams have cost people more than $1 billion since 2021, says FTC. More than 46,000 people say that they lost over $1 billion in crypto to scams since the start of 2021, according to a report released by the Federal Trade Commission on Friday. Losses last year were nearly 60 times what they were in 2018, with a median individual loss of $2,600. The FTC notes that the top cryptocurrencies people said they used to pay scammers were Bitcoin, Tether, and Ether. For a median individual loss of $2,600, that is pretty big.
That's huge.
Yeah.
By the sound of the article, where 70% of it is Bitcoin, just seems like it was one of those like, send me Bitcoin and I'll send you 2 times the Bitcoin kind of scam.
Right.
Unfortunately.
The too good to be true things.
Yeah. So was it last year also when those celebrity accounts got hacked and then they started posting like the send me Bitcoin and I'll send you 2x? If it was last year, then that explains a lot of it actually.
Yeah, it was like some 16-year-old, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Yep. But I think even in that situation, they only made like 200K.
Yeah.
So, these Bitcoin scams are pretty rampant, and then that's the case.
Right. The thing is, though, like, if they ever want to cash out, unless they're doing OTC trades for cash in person, they're, they get caught because it's a permanent paper trail.
Yeah, for sure. That's the beauty of the blockchain.
Right.
I can tell you that I feel like this number is pretty. This just takes it like I think it's way higher than this. If you count all the scam tokens on the EVM chains, right, BNB,
Right.
on ETH, all those scammers, they've made so much more than this. How much was that one Squid Game hack or rug?
It was
that was a big one.
Yeah, but it was still like maybe $10 million in liquidity, which is massive.
I don't think
bigger than bank heist.
No, definitely, but I'm just saying I don't think a lot of these scams on the EVM chains were ever taken into account.
Right. Yeah, you got the massive ones like the Ron and Bridge hack, which, if I'm not mistaken, was like $640 million worth of ETH.
Oh yeah, no, that was huge, but that was a hack, whereas this is just directly accounting for scams. But let's go a little bit deeper in the article, and then we'll kind of give our thoughts on it.
Yeah, so it goes on to say one key feature of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin is that payment transfers are final and can't be reversed. This isn't always a good thing. Chargebacks, a type of tool designed to protect consumers, allow consumers to reverse the transaction if they claim they have been fraudulently charged for a good or service they did not receive. Nearly half of the people who reported losing crypto to a scam since 2021 said it started with some kind of message on a social media platform. The top platforms mentioned in these compliance were Instagram 32%, Facebook 26%, WhatsApp 9%, and Telegram 7%. Fake investment opportunities were by far the most common type of scam. In 2021, 575 million of crypto fraud losses reported to the FTC related to investment opportunities. People reported that investment websites and apps would let them track the growth of their crypto, but the apps were fake, and when they tried to get their money out, they could not. There's no bank or other centralized authority to flag suspicious transactions and attempt to stop fraud before it happens, the FCC warns in its report. These considerations are not unique to crypto transactions, but they all play into the hands of scammers. So, I mean, it's obvious, but first and foremost, you really should not be sending crypto to some random person that sends you a message on social media telling you he can double your investment in 3 minutes.
Yeah, Telegram is really popular for scammers too. And I've actually seen some like insider videos where they show you how these work, and basically you send your money to some of these, companies or scammers that say that you'll 2x your money, and once you have an account on the website, there's actually no physical dollars behind any of the numbers.
Right.
So it tracks how much you send in, and they can just multiply your investment by 200x, and it'll display that you have $2 million now, but in reality there's nothing there.
For sure.
And of course, like they said in the article, when you go to withdraw, nothing happens, and that's the reality. So I mean, you just have to be super careful. Ultimately, we saw, I mean, again, it's 1 billion in 2021 supposedly by the FTC. I think it's a lot more, because a lot of this stuff gets unreported or just simply not accounted for, especially on like EVM chains and stuff like that. And on an individual basis, I'm sure it was a lot more. So crypto is kind of like a gold mine, not only for investors, but also for scammers. I think that people definitely need to do their due diligence and research whatever you're going to get into.
Right.
And just be safe. Because, I mean, when more of this news comes out saying, oh, this much was, made by scammers, it's just going to attract more scammers into the space.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing too. It's like 2022 or 2023 might be even more rampant with scammers than 2021 was.
Probably, but also at the same time, it's, I think the market got as hot as it's going to get for a while in 2021. I don't think people are going to be, there's just not going to be nearly as much volume in the following years. And so I think that'll kind of
Lord, years. I mean, I said 2023 just to have some hope. Yeah. Hobo's full bear.
Yeah. I mean,
oh Lord.
I don't know. 2021 was very euphoric. Tons of people throwing around massive amounts of money. It was, just like the .com bubble, anyone could raise millions of dollars with nothing but an idea. And that's a ripe market for scammers. It's not the same anymore. So, I'm sure they'll move on to riper markets, but, of course it'll persist in any market.
Yeah, for sure. I see what you mean.
Yeah. So yeah, getting on with the article here. It says, romance scams are the second most common source of crypto fraud losses, followed by business and government impersonation scams, which the FTC said can often start with fake messages purporting to be from tech companies like Amazon or Microsoft. Younger consumers were more likely to be taken in by crypto scams. The FTC reported that people aged 20 to 49 were more than 3 times as likely as older age groups to report losing crypto to a scammer. To avoid being scammed, the FTC says people should understand that cryptocurrency investments never have guaranteed returns, avoid business arrangements that require a crypto purchase, and watch out for romantic come-ons accompanied by crypto solicitation. Imagine that. The news comes after a tumultuous few weeks in the crypto markets. A failed US dollar peg stablecoin helped drag down the entire crypto asset class. We've all heard about that. Erasing $500 billion from the sector's market cap and denting investor confidence in the process. Many institutional and retail investors got wiped out, and for the most part, there are no backstops from the FDIC nor any other consumer insurance protections. Billionaire Bitcoiners Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss recently announced layoffs at crypto exchange Gemini, citing the fact that the industry is in a contraction phase known as crypto winter, which has been further compounded by the current macroeconomic and geopolitical turmoil. I mean, I think it's also interesting to note that I believe Gemini is currently getting sued over some misrepresentation of futures contracts they had.
Yeah, some of these exchanges do like some pretty sketchy stuff.
Yeah, they do. There's a lot of a sense of anonymity with crypto. So people think that they can get away with a lot of things, but there's also, well, it is anonymous, it's transparent, and everyone can see everything that happens. So, enough investigation, you'll probably get uncovered. I'm sure we're going to be seeing lots and lots of cases coming up in the coming years of, influencers that have showed a lot of scams, things like that.
It's gonna be like those TV ads. Did you get scammed in 2021?
Right. Yeah, dude. I mean, we're gonna see a Soldier Boy doing like 500 years.
Were you affected by Soldier Boy?
Yeah.
Call our law firm today.
Yeah, Jake Paul's gonna be homeless.
Lord.
Yeah. But yeah, jokes aside, surely there's plenty of scams in crypto. Really, it just takes common sense to avoid most of them. The leading cause of scams, let's see, what was it said? The fake investment opportunities. If something's too good to be true, it surely is.
Yep. Absolutely.
But let's get on to the next article here. So right here we're talking about Twitter may not get its crypto-friendly owner. Elon Musk seeks exit from deal. So the latest chapter of Elon Musk's Twitter acquisition may be the saga's last. A new letter to Twitter's general counsel alleges that the company hasn't met its obligations in closing the deal. The Tesla and SpaceX CEO said he's been eager to gather precise data on spam and bot activity on the platform. In May, Musk said the $44 billion acquisition was temporarily on hold until he could verify that fewer than 5% of Twitter users were fake. But according to Musk's counsel, Twitter has only ever provided details about its methodology for measuring such activity, not exactly how it occurs. Twitter's latest offer to simply provide additional details regarding the company's own testing methodologies, whether through written materials or verbal explanations, is tantamount to refusing Mr. Musk's data requests, reads the letter prepared by Musk's attorneys. It continues by stating that Musk doesn't find these methodologies adequate and that he must conduct his own analysis. Perhaps most important, however, this tussle has been deemed a clear material breach of the two parties' merger agreement and gives Musk the right to terminate the merger agreement altogether. Twitter shares are down about 3.4% to 38.81 as of this writing. If the deal falls through, the social media platform may never see a host of crypto-infused upgrades, Musk has hinted at since the deal began gaining traction. I'm not super surprised by this, to be honest. As I mentioned last time we talked over this, when Elon Musk had initially proposed the acquisition deal, a lot of the headlines in the news were talking about it like it was sealed and done, like they had worked out a deal. He was buying it for like $44 billion or whatever. But you really read into it, and it was a offer, and nothing had been set in stone. And yeah.
Yeah, I do remember you mentioning that it is Elon and it's not set in stone.
Right.
Man, I think Elon's probably the only person that would ever really buy Twitter as well. I don't see anybody else buying Twitter. Just because from like a innovation standpoint, I felt like Elon wanted it so he could improve it.
Yeah.
And get the bias aside, and then also, improve it. Whereas nobody is gonna buy Twitter as like a profit generating business because it's extremely high valued.
Right.
And nobody really has the tenacity or the grit to grind through changing Twitter and overhauling it to make it better.
Mm-hmm.
well, I wouldn't say nobody, but I just don't see anybody who could successfully do it coming up and buying it outside of Elon. So it definitely was a bit of a shocker. But I mean, as we said last time we talked about it, it is Elon, and he'll back out at any moment if he wants. So
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, to be
what do you
honest, I
think?
could see something like Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates buying it, or at least buying a large stake and driving it even further into the ground.
Ah, okay. So yeah, I mean that too. A competitor can just buy it and drag it down.
Yeah.
That's something I didn't consider, but yeah, I don't see either way. This isn't good for Twitter, um,
Yeah.
because Elon was kind of like really gonna try to save it,
Right.
and like you said, if Elon's not gonna buy it for good, the only people that could potentially and would potentially buy it would do so to take down the platform. So um, yeah, I don't see it being good for Twitter at all, but we'll see. I mean, it doesn't sound like this is set in stone either, but
Right. Yeah, I'm just gonna launch the Twitter chart here, see what happened. Let's see. I believe that news came out. What? Around the 22nd of. Let's see. Oh, sorry, the 4th of April. Yeah, I had a massive jump that night. Today, it's pumped and dumped. Fell from, see, 41 down to 37, right back up to just below 40 within a couple of hours. Kind of looks like a small scale Netflix chart. But yeah, I don't know. I wonder if there's a kind of date that something has to be figured out, or at least some sort of conclusion has to be made for this deal that I'm not sure about. Yep, I mean, only time will tell with this situation, and yeah, who knows? Maybe Twitter steps up to the plate, shows some evidence. Maybe it looks
I think
good,
it's in
maybe
their
it looks
best
bad.
interest.
Yeah, I would
They
agree
should,
as
they
well, but
should.
who knows what their best interest really means.
Well, let's move on to the next one.
Hey, let's do it. So, KuCoin plugs into Web3 with new decentralized wallet. So cryptocurrency trading platform KuCoin has launched a new decentralized wallet platform as interest in Web3 continues to gather steam. KuCoin wallet is now live for users, with the browser-based platform paving the way for a mobile application, which is still in development. The platform plugs into the KuCoin ecosystem and features cross-blockchain integration. Users will be able to buy, sell, trade, and send a variety of cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, Ether, and Tether, in addition to other tokens. The wallet is self-custodial, giving users full control and responsibility over their private keys. As the cryptocurrency ecosystem continues to adopt and support decentralized finance and non-fungible token functionality, KuCoin Wallet's roadmap will include the addition of DeFi, NFT, and GameFi services. KuCoin's proprietary NFT marketplace, Windvane, powers this functionality at launch, allowing users to trade and view NFTs in the KuCoin wallet. Windvane unveiled a $100 million creators fund in April 2022 to help support and encourage early-stage NFT projects to build on the platform. That's quite a lot of money to help NFT developers build on your platform.
Man, I like KuCoin. I love that they're doing this. I love that they're doing self-custodial wallets.
Yeah.
I mean, KuCoin is at its essence like what true crypto and DeFi is all about.
Right.
Yeah, I love it. Power to them, and really interesting. I'm actually gonna have to look into this because, yeah, I mean that's crazy too. They had a $100 million creator fund.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, no. I really like them as well. I mean, they're one of the top exchanges, but at the same time, you can buy so many microcap tokens on them that aren't available anywhere other than decentralized exchanges.
Mm-hmm.
But Yeah, it says KuCoin netted 150 million of investment in a pre-series B round in 2022. With the firm valued at $10 billion, the firm intends to use the proceeds of the latest fundraising round to continue developing Web3, DeFi, and NFT services and offerings within its ecosystem. KuCoin Labs and KuCoin Ventures will spearhead these efforts, which have already come to fruition with the launch of KuCoin Wallet. A number of prominent cryptocurrency exchanges and service providers have recently launched non-custodial multi-blockchain wallets in recent months to keep pace with interest in Web3 functionality. Leading the United States-based cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase integrated Web3 functionality with a wallet and browser for a select group of its mobile app clients in May 2022. Trading on NFT marketplaces was a big focus, while token swaps and other DeFi services were made available through exchanges like Uniswap and OpenSea. Robinhood promoted an upcoming non-custodial cryptocurrency wallet in May 2022 with cross-blockchain accessibility, which will also feature NFT storage and access to marketplaces. American brick-and-mortar gaming retailer GameStop followed suit with the launch of its own blockchain wallet, which will also feature NFT functionality. I didn't know GameStop was coming out with a crypto wallet. I think that's pretty cool. I'm glad that Robinhood is doing it. Because from here for the longest time, you haven't been even able to withdraw crypto out of Robinhood. You just have to buy it and sell it in there.
Yeah, no, I love it. Definitely, I'm super surprised at GameStop. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And especially when you start considering that, some talks about NFTs being integrated into games. I mean, if that does take off and become a thing, then GameStop is really ahead of the curve here.
Right.
But yeah, super surprising. Wow.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see which companies can, develop wallets that actually stick. I think, MetaMask is the primary wallet at the moment. I think that's largely due to first mover advantage. I'm sure there were wallets before it, but it was the one that really marketed and popped up at the perfect time. Really took advantage of the crypto craze. But it lacks a lot of features and functionality that I could certainly see being added by some competitors. So we'll see what sticks and what fades.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to boil down to how well they can develop it, and like you said, if it sticks. So,
Right.
Let's move on to this next one. This next one is juicy.
Yep. So, right here, this article in the Defiant is talking about OpenSea's former head of product being arrested by the FBI. So it was one of last year's largest scandals. Nate Chaston, the former head of product at OpenSea, left under a cloud after it was discovered that he purchased NFTs before they were featured on his former employer's homepage and subsequently sold them as the increased exposure led to higher prices. Now, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York has issued a statement that Chaston was arrested on June 1st in New York City. The FBI will charge Chaston with 1 count of wire fraud and 1 count of money laundering, each which carries a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. Yeah. The arrest indicates that NFTs and perhaps crypto as a whole are increasingly in the sights of U.S. regulators. Indeed, just last week, DeFi Savings Protocol pulled together was compelled to fundraise with NFTs to pay legal fees of their own in an ongoing legal battle. The crypto space is no stranger to scams and bad actors. It's called the Wild West after all. Projects like Pixelmon rode insane hype to raise $70 million, only to implode under the reveal of the project's NFTs. Milady NFTs have been associated with grooming and other cult-like behavior, arguably all of self-styled on-chain sleuth. Zach XBT's threads could be fodder in law for enforcement. I think that's super cool. They mentioned Zach XBT on here. If you guys don't follow him on Twitter, he's quite the good follow. He's always sleuthing it up. exposing tons of projects, tons of influencers, with real concrete data.
Yeah, he's one of the good guys in the DeFi space. Pixelmon was so funny, man. I remember that.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen that, oh my god, just Google it. It's worth it.
We got a link right here. Please open up a picture. Oh, come on.
I think people were paying like 10 ETH at the time for them, and that was back when ETH was like three to $3,500, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it was like well over 10K for these NFTs.
Right. Yep, we've got some pictures right here, and got $10,000 for some Play-Doh. Unfortunate situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so getting on with the article here. Cheston was a guest on the Defiant podcast last August, 1 month before the scandal broke in September. He hasn't spoken publicly since. In the wake of the controversy, OpenSea launched a third-party review, the results of which were not made public. With the FBI stepping into the space, the happy-go-lucky culture of crypto and NFTs, where the word Ponzi is tossed around and sometimes glorified, is unarguably threatened. I think that's a good thing. Really, you got to drain the bad actors from the space before you can move on and continue to grow in the right direction.
He's a Nancy Pelosi wannabe.
Right. Yeah, maybe he should run for
Congress.
office. Yeah. If he ran for office, it'd probably be okay. But let's get on to this next article here. So, ETH2 beacon chain launches on Ropsten testnet, paving way for merge. The Ethereum Foundation launched the ETH2 beacon chain on a public testnet yesterday, making one of the final tests before Ethereum transitions to proof of stake later this year. The beacon chain, ETH2's proof of stake consensus layer, went live on the long-standing public testnet Ropsten. The launch is a major milestone towards Ethereum's highly anticipated chain merge, which developers expect to go live on mainnet during the third quarter of this year. The event, also known as the merge, will unify the ETH2 beacon chain with the Ethereum mainnet, transitioning the network from proof of work consensus to proof of stake. The upgrade, several years in the making, is tipped to usher in a more than 99% reduction in Ethereum's energy consumption on mainnet, alongside a 90% reduction in Ether issuance. Combined with the base fee of Ethereum's transaction fees being burned, analysts predict that the merge will burn more ETH than is created through validator rewards, making the cryptocurrency deflationary. After 5 shadow forks, deployment to closed testnets, the merge must first launch on 3 public Ethereum testnets, starting with Ropsten. The launch of the beacon chain on Ropsten paves the way for the merge to deploy on Ropsten. Analysts expect the Ropsten merge will take place in about 9 days. I think probably the most important aspect of this whole ETH2 merge is going to be that 99% reduction in energy consumption, as that's one of the things that regulators and anti-crypto people love to toss around, is how bad crypto is for the environment. Not to mention that it would be far more efficient in a net manner than the global financial system and the banking system, but obviously people don't like to have that conversation. The Foundation urges teams running dApps on Ethereum to ensure that their code works as intended on Ropsten and to report any issues they experience to the Foundation. ETH holders don't have to do anything to prepare for the merge. The Foundation also scheduled a merged community call for June 3rd. Client developers and researchers will answer questions from the community concerning the merge during the call. The Foundation added that it intends to deprecate Ropsten after the merge. The road to ETH2 has been long and winding. Ethereum's chief scientist, Vitalik Buterin, first articulated a roadmap for the network's transition to proof of stake in 2015, 2 days before launching Ethereum's mainnet. Buterin expressed regret for the waste of time on the Hashing It Out podcast in mid-2020. Had we known that it would end up taking us years, we probably would have designed the roadmap differently and thought about what the different teams would be working on differently, and made a lot of decisions in that regard in a very different way from how we are now, Buterin said. The ETH2 Beacon chain finally launched in December 2020, allowing ETH holders to deposit and stake their ETH on the new chain. Withdrawals and smart contracts functionality will go live on the Beacon chain sometime after the merge. What do you think the biggest effect of the ETH merge is going to be, guys?
The biggest effect? I'm not sure, because again, we kind of spoke about it on a previous podcast episode. It won't do anything for gas fees. I think the main reason is the energy consumption.
Yeah.
It might help gas fees. At the end of the day, we just have to see it on chain to really see how effective it is in that regard. It may bring some positive price impact into ETH, but that's really the main purpose of it is the proof of stake. So that's the only thing I think some ETH maxis are like drooling over this when it's in reality not as huge as they might think. But again, we'll have to see it live and in action in order to determine that. If it does have a huge impact on the main use of the network. Aside from that, that's about all I really expect out of it. I don't have like crazy high expectations.
Yeah, I think the change in making ETH deflationary will be quite a good change for the long run.
Yeah, I mean that's huge as well. But yeah, I mean we'll see what happens.
Right, and who knows? Maybe Vitalik's gonna time rug some more, and we're gonna have to wait 5 more years.
Oh Lord, hopefully not.
Yeah, no, hopefully not, of course. But
I mean, hey,
delay and delay
it's
and
on
delay.
the testnet now.
Yeah, no, very true.
He delivered on that front.
Yeah, he did. They've only got 2 more testnets to go. But yeah, looking decent. Right down here it mentions what we talked about on the previous Crypto Club. So last week a miner sought to stress test the merge's deployment on Ropsten by directing significant hashing power towards the network, essentially trying to speed up the merge on the Ropsten testnet, but they caught it and it did not work. Yeah, so let's get on to the next story here, talking about USDD upgrades into the first over-collateralized decentralized stablecoin. So USDD is Tron, the Tron network stablecoin. The blockchain industry's most distinctive trait is that... Wait, what? Okay. So, Tron-based USDD has joined the league of global crypto titans, surpassing several significant milestones in less than 1 month since its May 5th launch. The blockchain industry's most distinctive trait is constantly evolving and transforming traditional sectors rapidly, bringing revolutionary technologies to the world and financial markets worldwide. USDD has continued to build since its launch, solidifying organic growth and aspiring to advance the stablecoin 3.0 era to make finance accessible to all. With a total circulating supply of nearly 700 million, the Tron-based USDD has recently upgraded itself to the first over-collateralized decentralized stablecoin, offering faster transactions with the highest collateral ratio around the globe. As one of the most secure decentralized stablecoins, USDD enjoys a guaranteed collateral ratio of at least 130%, higher than the 120% set by DAI, which is considered a paragon of the industry. The real-time collateral ratio of USDD is published on the Tron DAO's Reserve website, publicly available 24/7. While allowing the Tron DAO reserve members to continue minting USDD by burning TRX, the upgrade consolidates USDD's stability and credibility by over-collateralizing assets under the Tron DAO reserve. These reserve assets would include Bitcoin, TRX, and multiple stablecoins like USDC, USDT, TUSD, and USDJ at a ratio of 130% to back the issuance of USDD. In other words, every USDD is supported by at least $1.3 worth of Bitcoin, TRX, stablecoins, and potentially other highly liquid assets. And I think that's a really good move by Tron, making sure to over-collateralize this situation, because I mean they launched like right around the time Terra was having its whole fiasco. So breaking the record for the most over-collateralized stablecoin is quite the move.
Smart move. I mean, they basically took Luna's plunder, and yeah, I mean it's genius. So hopefully it works out for them. I have not looked into it myself at all, but yeah, I'm not a I'm not a big Justin fan.
Yeah. Yeah, so it says the Tron DAO reserve is currently holding 10,500 Bitcoin, 240 million USDT, and 1.9 billion TRX in the reserve account, on top of the 8.29 billion TRX already in the burning contract. The real-time collateral ratio is now over 200%, a total 1.37 billion of assets backing the 667 million USDD in circulation. I think 200% is quite a nice ratio. You'd have to see some absolute insanity to see some insolvency in this market. Especially when we're already down so much. If that was the market was real hot, I'd be much more pessimistic about it. But I think this is a good situation that they are in. To power the over-collateralization of USDD, the TDR has greatly increased its reserves, including the highly liquid Bitcoin, TRX, and USDT to back USDD's total supply. Users worldwide can access the information by querying on-chain contracts at any time, and the collateral ratio is transparently maintained. Stablecoins are the faucet of the blockchain industry, and is critical to ensure their security, transparency, efficiency, affordability, and scale, all of which criteria make the USDD a highly desirable option. This upgrade has strengthened USDD, adding an extra layer of security to the token's stability and risk tolerance in a way similar to how Maker powers DAI. The DAI token, supported by Maker, is one of the oldest and most resilient stablecoins in the DeFi field. Its success is an excellent example of the decentralization of stablecoins. USDD runs on Tron, one of the largest stablecoin networks. Millions of Tron users, as well as those leveraging the BTTC cross-chain solution, are experiencing the complete decentralization of stablecoins, which in turn shows how blockchain technology practically reaches the masses. I think that's just code for the Tron chain.
Huge. This is definitely a big power move on their part, and yeah, I mean, if you think about it too, they're holding liquid assets that are somewhat volatile, and so if hypothetically speaking, if Bitcoin trades sideways for the next few years or next couple of years, next year, whatever your belief is as far as how long the bear market will last, then whenever we do start to see a next run in the bull market, as long as these positions don't, get liquidated and they're maintaining their promise of 130%, then when it does come time to go into the bull market, their reserves are going to be probably a lot larger than this, maybe 250, 300%, maybe more. And at that point, that is really, really good for a stable coin.
Yeah.
And that could help propel Tron to a new league. So really big power move, really big gamble, a smart gamble in my opinion, and we'll have to see how it plays out for them. But this was pretty smart on their part.
Right, and I think it's a good time in the market to over collateralize. I really especially that they have ratios of other stablecoins. They're properly diversified.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's not like we face a tremendous downside, right? Sure, we can always drop lower, but we're already down more than half of what the all-time high of the crypto market was. So, I think it's good timing, good move, and good for Tron. But, yeah, so let's get on to this next article here. I think this one is super interesting. So, $26.5 million New York City building listed on OpenSea. Something curious appeared this week on NFT marketplace OpenSea, a $26.5 million building in one of New York City's most fashionable neighborhoods. The 7-story building in Manhattan's Flatiron district includes ground-level retail space with apartments above. The seller, Okada & Company, has been in commercial real estate business for almost 60 years. CEO Chris Okada told the DeFi in an interview Friday afternoon. It's blowing up, he said with a laugh. I've done things that went a little viral, but this went like I got calls from Norway. People reached out from Korea. If sold, 111 West 24th Street wouldn't be the first property to be purchased on the blockchain, but it would almost certainly be the most expensive and the splashiest. So, I think that's really cool and probably one of the most practical uses of NFTs, and he's really selling the property rights through the NFT. Whoever buys that NFT owns the house.
Yeah, this is really interesting for the real estate market. Man, like the possibilities are pretty insane when you start to think about what can be done with real estate and on-chain technology.
Yeah.
Dude, I was thinking about this the other day, actually. Like, what happens if, like, I don't even know if there's still deeds for houses. I imagine not, or I imagine that the state holds on to them at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But at what point would it be more beneficial to just have them as like NFTs?
Right.
And you just own the deed digitally, right? And when you sell the house, you're even talking about having a real estate market on chain. And think of how much easier it would be. You're talking about a market where the average closing date or the time frame to close on a house and move in is like 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the average. Sometimes it takes longer. So imagine simplifying that process into buying an NFT, having it transferred to you immediately, and you move in whenever the seller's, ready to go and out. You're talking about days compared to 2 months. That's massive.
Right, and it's, taking away the middleman, saving the seller and the buyer a lot of money of, listing fees and things of that nature.
Yes and no. I don't see these kind of real estate properties being listed on OpenSea or anything like that.
Well, we
it
have
would
one
have
right here.
I don't see it being like widely adopted onto OpenSea, right? Because think about it from this perspective. Like an 80-year-old couple wants to buy a house and then they get scammed. They get scammed on OpenSea by a fake.
Right.
Well, we laugh about it, but in reality, that's very likely to happen. So we would need like a centralized platform, either by, again, it would maybe by each country, like one overall platform. Like, how exchanges, we have Binance.us, Binance.com. So maybe if we have like real estate NFT.us, real estate NFT.Canada, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But you would need a centralized platform that would regulate and control what gets listed,
right?
So that there are no fakes, there are no scams.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that they're gonna charge a fee. as far as operating costs and also staff and also just general transaction fees.
But sir, I'm
So,
selling Minecraft Mansion for 3 million ETH.
so I could see it working, and it's far more efficient than the current real world system.
Mm-hmm.
So it's super exciting to see. It's just also really risky in its
Right.
current state because, I mean, had you known about this deal beforehand and you made like a fake copy of the NFT listing, like there's a chance that that buyer could have bought your fake NFT.
Yeah.
And then what do you do? Right?
Yeah.
Um, so it is very risky. I think for these kind of important crypto, transactions, there does need to be some centralization and just to protect consumers,
Mm-hmm.
um, and also to help adoption. I mean, this is a brilliant use case and reason to have NFTs, which is simplifying the real estate market and improving its efficiency dramatically. So, I mean, you can even go as far as having like the real estate agents sign off on the contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the possibilities there are endless, endless. Um, it's huge, but it needs to be done correctly.
Right. So yeah, I mean, even right here it says there's so much fraud around the NFT space right now. He lamented, if you search OpenSea for Chris Okada, there's already like 3 or 4 fake accounts.
I told you.
Yep.
uh, yeah. So, I mean, think how cool it would be, like an actual real estate market on the blockchain
Right.
that's governed and controlled by the government. I shouldn't say controlled; it's more like managed by the government.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hell, you could even do it with cars and titles, right?
Yeah.
So, no more DMV trips. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of potential here to improve a lot of inefficiencies in the real world. Really cool stuff. Really cool stuff.
Yeah, I think it's exciting stuff, but also I don't think it will ever substitute, real tangible documents as um, although it's more efficient, we could ultimately face a solar flare someday, things like that. Like, people don't realize how fragile things like this truly are, just because we've never faced anything like that. I see it really working alongside real documents rather than replacing, at least in my opinion.
Wait, what was that?
I was saying, I don't ever see NFTs really replacing like legal documents. I see them working alongside them, but ultimately, like, the electrical infrastructure, is ultimately a fragile and intangible thing. And so, if the power was to ever go out, all of a sudden you don't own your house, so I see it working alongside like actual tangible documents rather than solely replacing them.
I mean, it goes both ways because if the deed to your house is in your house and then it catches fire, right?
Yeah.
Or it's at some government building and then that building catches on fire, do you still own your house? Right? So
Yeah.
I agree they do need to work in tandem, which I'm sure that would be the purpose of the government taking a fee and managing everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that being on chain is more reliable. If that were the case, I mean that's the same argument as having cash versus having a debit card. I'm sure a lot of people back then used to say, what happens if I don't have my phone? I have no money then.
Right.
But the reality is that it's more reliable and logical to have it stored online versus in reality.
Totally.
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely got to have like a fail safe, and that's something that the government or would take care of and manage. Hopefully well.
Right. Yeah, but I think this is pretty sweet. I'd say that's one of the most practical uses that we'll start seeing more of for NFTs.
Yeah, real estate NFTs is really, really smart.
Right. But yeah, I think that about wraps up this week's Crypto Club. It's always a pleasure bringing this to you guys. This has been episode 7, brought to you by the team over at CoinScan. Trade smarter, not harder. CoinScan will show you everything you need to know in a very easy to understand interface. Show you developer transactions as they come in pending. Same with buys and sells. Some really revolutionary technology we've got going on here. And we really make an effort to keep our community informed through these podcasts, through different articles, through our varying social medias. And we're also happy to help people out and answer questions. If you guys have any questions, just hop into our Telegram or send us a message on Twitter. We are happy to help anyone out.
Definitely. And yeah, as we spoke about earlier, there's a lot of scammers out here. Make sure you guys are staying safe, and CoinScan is definitely the platform to stay safe and navigate the DeFi space. So make sure you guys check us out.
Yep, and we will see you guys next week.